And then this is our segue. Also releasing Friday, October 5th. Can you call this movie highly anticipated?
I don't think anymore.
That's kind of true. Tom Hardy and Venom is releasing from Sony Pictures Studios. Releases Friday, October 5th.
Yes, it does.
And so that is actually our first topic for the first segment of our show. It's going to be Venom. Not getting good reviews at all from the early press showings. I've heard it compared to Affleck's Daredevil. I've heard it compared to Halle Berry's Catwoman.
Damn.
So things not looking good. And Tom Hardy himself was kind of botching the press tour. He was talking about how like the favorite things of the movie from him were cut, and then he had to go back and stutter through. He had to walk back those statements through this like stuttered interview of him trying to like figure out what he was supposed to have said the first time.
Lose that money.
Right. Yeah. So definitely stumbling out of the gates for Venom. I personally kind of felt like this movie was dead on arrival. Like it was never really going to be anything. It's not like Sony gave Spider-Man to not gave it to Marvel, but like agreed to let them have Spider-Man. And to me anyway, there is no point of them trying to build any sort of anything with the Marvel properties that they have anymore, which is basically just Spider-Man and Spider-Man's villains.
Yeah. I was not really high on this movie. Even I think I was already skeptical when they announced it. But I was like, oh yeah, Tom Hardy. It's Tom Hardy. How can this be bad? We haven't even seen the movie, and like, I have like, well, we're gonna go see probably the movie this weekend. And as soon as I saw like the first part of the trailer, it was the first trailer, which was before we even saw like the first trailer didn't even have him in the suit at all, or whatever, the Venom, whatever you want to call it. And I was just like, oh man, it's not that I don't like Tom Hardy when he acts, like when he has that like it's in New York, right? Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that accent, it doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't feel believable. I think this might be one of Tom Hardy's worst performances we might see.
That's what it sounds like it's going to turn out to be.
Yeah. It would have been nice to have had a more reserved Tom Hardy in a sense. Like he's more quiet. Like with the guy from The Sopranos, he was in a movie with him where
Gandolfini?
Yeah, they were in a movie together. His like last movie they released, and he was like a really reserved, kind of like a big guy that you kind of just didn't really mess with, but also kind of everyone kind of mess with, see it, I guess, at the same time. But that kind of seemed like I was aiming for that kind of performance, or the guy from his performance in Lawless, something like that with Shia LaBeouf.
Okay,
remember,
yeah.
And Jessica Chastain. That kind of performance is what I was really like, what I wanted to see happen. And then once he has the Venom suit is where I want him to have kind of like the confidence come out. I don't want him to have the confidence before the suit is, and for me, I feel like I'm not sure how far like Venom and like how his original character is, but like to me, I think we're not making a movie or comic book movie in a way. We're making a movie here, and it's okay to play around with the character and not have to have him be the exact same all the time. And I think even with the last Venom, the guy from that 70s show that was playing him, like he was already confident before that. So, and then him getting the Venom suit kind of made him more confident. I feel like I get like you get someone that's kind of over abusing power, I guess. But I would have been nice to see a different Venom, to see someone that's a little bit more innocent in a way, and then to become Venom. I mean, he'll probably be innocent in the when the movie starts, but that's what kind of performance I wanted to see. But we're not gonna get that obviously from just the trailer. And that was like the first trailer. Once I saw just the way it was like lined up, it just was not good. It didn't appeal to me. I think it was like, it seemed like unorganized. Like his interaction with like the villain or the guy that's creating all this kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Like his interview with him, it was just super sloppy and unrealistic. I felt like I was just like, this is gonna be such a turn off. And as we're seeing it, and then as you said, I think last week where like they didn't have the embargoes lifted at all. Like we're gonna see one of like the worst comic book movie or superhero movies, which is, that's like I said, it's a superhero movie or whatever you want to call it, but I don't like the approach of trying to make it like a comic book in a way, and like that's my problem with the DC movies. Is like they are trying to like they don't know how to adapt a character to the screen unless it's like the Nolan movies. But like Nolan was going for something like that's not the comics in a way. It was his own kind of creation, and I felt like the studio and the people that were producing this should have been able to have gotten the freedom from the studio to do that kind of work with this character, which could have they could have hit a home run with this, but I don't think that's obviously going to happen. And going forward, I don't have any faith in Sony Studios making another Spider-Man. I like anything related to Spider-Man, besides like obviously this movie, and then I don't see him crossing over because I don't want this Spider-Man to be tainted by this at all, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier, very similar last week when we were talking about Dark Phoenix. It seems like movies, so like Dark Phoenix and then now Venom, have to be very careful about how they just have to be very careful about how good of a movie they're putting out because they're so limited in scope as far as like creating a cinematic universe. Like Dark Phoenix is likely going to be the end of the Fox X-Men movies, and except for the New Mutants, and then Venom, like I don't really know what Sony's really trying to go for. I feel like their best option should have been to just kind of let Marvel make them money.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sony's sitting there printing money with all like Infinity War and Spider-Man Homecoming and and Civil War. Like Sony doesn't have to do anything for.
Is this gonna be rated R now?
I don't think so. It's
Okay.
PG-13. I'm 99% sure it's a PG-13 movie. And yeah, it just from the early reviews, it's not been encouraging at all. I don't think there have been so many criticisms of Tom Hardy's performance. Like Tom Hardy's a good actor, but I think that like there's a lot of, from what I've read anyway, a lot of like tonal inconsistencies and like the way. Basically, the gist of it is that it's not as deep of a movie as comic book movies have become.
Yeah.
It seems like maybe it's just like a little bit behind the times.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I would that's what I'm expecting. I mean I'm gonna have I was already going in with low expectations. This movie can somehow maybe get above. Like I have really low expectations for this, so it might be able to get above that line. But regardless, it's not going to be a good movie. It's going to be below that already.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks that way. And like what you were saying about the embargo, like they didn't release the movie embargo for Venom ahead of time, really. So that's normally a pretty bad indicator that the studio themselves doesn't have faith in their movie as like a quality film, because they don't want the bad word of mouth to get around before the movie comes out and affect any box office numbers that they might be anticipating.
Yeah, well, I think Tom Hardy's comments have already done that, but I think people are gonna go watch this movie to go see like a what's that movie, The Room. You see how bad it is, honestly. So I think they're still gonna make money off of this. There's just like people are like, okay, let me see. And like, most of the people that I see in my head and that are like that might like this movie are just gonna they just like movies. You know what I mean? They just like, okay, I got something out of this. Like for something like us, like we're probably not gonna get something out of this that we're gonna enjoy.
I don't even know if it's as bad as it appears to be. I mean, I don't even know. I don't know that I think that they might still make all them. I mean, we live in a world where Justice League basically broke even.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like I think, yeah, well, probably I would say they could probably do that, because I think there's a lot of dumb people out there. No offense, that would probably like, oh wow, I really like that. And I was like, well, okay. You know what I mean? Like those people that just like they like Transformer movies or they like the Fast and Furious. Like they're going there for that, and like they're going for like the action, and they're not really going for like the story or the acting. You know what I mean? Just like the whole cinema,
just like a popcorn flick.
Exactly.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So yeah, let us know what you guys think. Comes out, I guess, Thursday night technically. Thursday night the 4th. Full release Friday the 5th. So let us know what you think of it going in, what you guys think of it right now, what you guys think of Sony trying to build up its own little cinematic Spider-Verse. And let us know once you guys see it, what you guys think of it.
You know what I just thought of right now? Because they're working on the next Spider-Man, right? And I think
Yeah.
it's in the
For
works that it's gonna be
4 or Phase 5, whatever.
yeah, Doc Ock or something like that. I don't know who they confirmed already, but I was like thinking in my head, I was like, I'd be okay with them doing the diversity thing, but like, I think a decent pick would be Forrest Whitaker.
For Doc Ock?
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see that.
because I think he can pull off like him being normal, and then they put how they did with Spider-Man 2, and then they put that on. He can play crazy. I think he could pull that off. But that's just me. I don't know. That just popped in my head right now. I was like, why am I thinking of Forrest Whitaker? But yeah.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Let's do it.